Thanks for checking out CP3 Design. I'm going to take you through the various modules that we've come up with for the 1U rack system. What you can see in front of you here is 2 of the modules and 2 of the rack ears. So in your kit, depending on which modules you choose, you will get a set of rack ears that bolt to the sides, very easily fit into your standard 1U 19-inch rack. So the first module we came up with was for the Streamdeck XL, which is the drawer front, fits in a standard 1U and accommodates your Streamdeck XL in the aperture shown here. The unit sits nicely and snug in your rack and just slides out and drops down to give you easy access to the front of your Streamdeck. Really convenient, and for those that want to build a Streamdeck and not have it on the desktop, but have it in your rack, very straightforward process just to tuck it away when not in use. We've got it shown here to fill the 19-inch rack space with a blanking plate. So if you're going to start with just the Streamdeck, you will need at least a blanking plate which just bolts onto the side of the unit here. The whole thing comes together with some simple screws, some simple self-assembly which we'll show you, and you've got your module to fill your 1U rack. If you want to expand your range a little bit more, you can switch out the blanking plate and you can have one of our other modules. So the one that pairs up very nicely with the Streamdeck is the dual SSD bay. So what we've got here is a unit that accommodates standard SSD drives. In the unit itself, you have to have 2 of the U-green SATA to USB connectors. There's a link in the description for where you can get those, but it makes it a really easy way of being able to connect an SSD drive, whether you're pairing up with an ATEM Mini or any other sort of media player device, and works perfectly alongside your Streamdeck in a live streaming environment. So really handy unit there. The way I have mine configured, I've got one SSD that acts as the recording function for my ATEM, and then I have another SSD which is connected to my Hyperdeck for playout. So I've got one for recording and one for playout. Works really well together, and again just sits nicely in a 1U rack space. So the next module in the range is a combo unit designed specifically for a Raspberry Pi and an SSD. So those of you that use a Raspberry Pi for a dedicated function, and that might be for Playout B or OBS, or in my case I use it to run a dedicated instance of Companion, which pairs up lovely with the Streamdeck obviously. So the module's been designed in a way that you can use it with the Pi multiple different ways. So you'll notice there's a little blanking plate on the front. If you want to run completely headless, you can put your Pi in the back mount here. So it can be mounted on these standoffs, hide all your cables away, or you can rotate it the other way and you can have your I/O ports pointing out the back. If you want access via the front of the panel, you can pop out the little cover plate, and then your Raspberry Pi sits nicely on those front mounting standoffs, which gives you access to your I/O ports through the aperture at the front. So, like I say, combined with an SSD here, can be a really nice combo for a media player, or pairing up and using it with the Streamdeck in the same fashion as you might do with something like a Hyperdeck. So that's the Pi SSD combined module. And then the last in the range is a very simple Nutric D-series mounting plate. So again, this can be, you might want this at the back of your rack or at the front of your rack. Comes with the standard 6 apertures. The plates just pop out, so you can mount anything that you like, whether that's XLRs or RJ45s or microphones, headphones, whatever you want basically. You can just pop in any D-series Nutric plate will fit in that housing. And again, once again, it all goes together, clamps together nicely, fills up your 1U rack. You can do it left, right, right, left, whichever configuration you want to come to. You could also, obviously, if you want to build up your system, you can double rack it and have 2 units side by side. The last thing that we wanted to show was that if the units are not going into a rack, you might actually want to use it as a standalone desktop box. And in that instance, we have a lid that fits very nicely into the panel here, and that can be combined with some under desk mounts. So if you wanted to put a unit underneath your desk, it can be done in that way. And these obviously screw in just up into the underside of your desk surface.